manifestation. How do you get whatever you want? How do you do whatever you want? How do you live your best dream life that doesn't even feel like real life? It's true. You're actually a magician, and life is actually just a shrooms trip. It's all a lucid dream. It's literally everything that you didn't think it was, which is crazy. I know, it's crazy to conceptualize. I'm shocked too, believe me. But anyways, so there's a lot to consider about manifestation prior to actually manifesting. The first thing that you need to ask yourself when manifesting is, why do you actually want whatever it is that you're trying to manifest? Because if you're manifesting something because you feel that you need it, that anxiety or that need or that feeling of lack or I don't have, when you're going into manifesting, will never work because you're not in the right frequency mentally. So when you're in the state of fear and rage and concern, and there's all of this, bottled up negative emotions, you're not going to be able to wake up and operate in the way that you want to in order to manifest what you want. All of your thoughts, actions, and beliefs come from your ego. So if you're not having positive thoughts, you're not going to be able to drive positive actions, right? Everything in your life is going to be falling apart because you're like, oh my God, I need this. Oh my God, I have to have this. And you're not going to be doing the things that you want to do because you're trying to get the things that you feel like you need. And that's not in alignment with your natural human design. We operate from a frequency of unconditional love, aka God, aka soul, aka energy, aka not the ego involved. That is our natural state of being, which is why as a kid, life was so magical and it felt so surreal and it felt so cool when you were growing up because you weren't operating out of fear. Your caregivers basically wanted to protect you and they wanted you to survive, right? So they put all of these things onto you. Hey, this is a good idea. You should do this. You shouldn't do this. Our personalities are what reside in our ego, right? The things that we say that we are. I say that I'm Marissa and I like these things, but I'm actually nothing, right? We are just energy. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. That is just the laws of science. So when I say that you don't need anything external outside of you, I mean you don't need it. You can want it, and that's beautiful. That's life. I still want to go see the pyramids in ancient Egypt, but I don't need to go see the pyramids, right? I want to. I would like to go take that adventure. The reason why you have to release attachment to what it is that you want is because what you want actually wants you. Because think of it this way, if we are all one collective consciousness, right? If consciousness is soul energy, if consciousness is God, if we are all technically Christ consciousness, right? Energetically inside, that means we are all one. And if we're all one, that means whatever you want also wants you. Life is just a mirror. The only thing that makes humans individuals is our egos, right? But all of this is fear. Your ego is fear. A lot of people like to tell me, well, you can't survive without your ego. You can, because I'm doing it. I'm doing it right now. I'm surviving without my ego and getting whatever I want whenever I want. And it's because I released attachment to death itself. There's a story about this man drowning in the middle of the ocean, and he keeps saying, God, please come save me. God, please come save me. Please send me something. And so a boat comes by, a helicopter comes by, and they're like, hey, we're here to help. And he was like, no, it's okay. I don't want to go. God's gonna save me, right? And so he was operating out of fear of trusting other people. So he was rejecting all of the things coming his way because he had a fear of trusting those people because he wanted to trust something outside of him, right? He was externalizing the situation. He was saying, no, something outside is going to change me. I would rather trust this than go out of love for myself, right? So that fear of the unknown or fear of the known stopped him from actually getting inside that, actually prevented him from taking an opportunity. And that happens so much in life. We're given opportunities and we don't take them out of fear. And that's also what causes you suffering. You have to ask yourself, why are you not taking this opportunity? What's actually preventing you from doing that? Literally the only thing that makes us individuals is our own perception and thoughts and beliefs, but those all come from other people, right? So one of my recent manifestations that I actually mentioned on my Snapchat story, feel free to add me for all of my epiphanies, but basically I was just saying out loud all the time, I'm really just wanting to grow more. I don't want to be stunted, and I didn't know what to do, right? But it wasn't something I felt like I needed. I didn't need someone to challenge my thoughts. It was just something I wanted. And that's the whole thing. It's okay to want things. It's just when you need them, that's when you start to begin suffering, And so I just kept saying this all the time. I'd applied 2 months ago to talk to some therapist, but I never hit him back up. We just never really talked. So I get a random phone call. Now I normally do not answer random phone calls, right? But I felt fear inside of me, and I was like, if I fear answering this phone call, what if this phone call was an opportunity, right? So I answer the phone call out of love, not out of fear. And he's like, hey, did you still want to go to therapy? And initially I was going to say no, out of fear of someone else infiltrating my thoughts. I was worried because in the past I'd had therapists who shamed me a lot and, made me feel a certain way, even though no one can make me feel a certain way. But I had to realize, no, Marissa, you're in control of your emotions. You are in control of your emotions. You are potentially missing out on a connection, on an opportunity of someone that maybe could challenge your thoughts. Worst case, you can go. If you don't like it, you don't have to. You don't have to believe anything he tells you to do. You know, you're in control. It's not that deep. Go. And I'm so thankful that I did that. I manifested that because what I wanted me because I didn't need it, right? We all need each other, right? We're all just humans. Like, we all came from nothing. We're all the same at the end of the day. We're all just born babies, you know? Like, we all need to connect and love each other because that's the beauty of life, is connecting with other people and learning more. Like, that's the point of life. That's the meaning of life, is to grow and evolve your soul's consciousness. It's not about going and buying that next new designer bag or trying to get as much money as you want. I know what it's like to have a lot of money. I know what it's like to do all the things. And at the end of the day, that is not fulfilling, because that's not real human interaction. That's not love. That's material. That's fake. That's 3D. That's 3D reality. That's not true form of love. I would say that manifestation came from more of a conscious place, but I unconsciously moved to Miami and I didn't really realize what I was doing when I was doing it. But basically what I realized is the first like 8 months of the year, all I could think about was that. And I was in this fear, really urgent, anxiety based frequency. I was like, just needing to apply for jobs all day. Like, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God, I just have to move there. Like, I just have to move there. Like, oh my God. Right? But that doesn't get you what you want, because you feel this need. And if you need something, it's not going to want you back because you're operating from your ego. And so if you're not operating in self-love and you're not operating from the soul energy, from your spirit, from God, a lot of people like to refer to God as something outside of them, but God is in you. God is the frequency of unconditional love. And so you can become God. I like to say that with quotes because I would never want someone to think that I think I'm like God as in God being better, you know, but we all are God. You know, when people say like God's with you all the time, it's because you are God. The God is inside of you. Like, we are unconditional love, you know, like peel the ego back, kill it off, you know, that's the vibes. I released all attachment to wanting to go to Miami. I told myself, how about you work on yourself for a couple months, just focus on you, and you can move there whenever you want. Still have that confidence in yourself, knowing that it's going to happen, because that's the whole thing. Is a lot of people like to give up on their manifestations and be like, oh, this just could never work. So they don't put actions or anything into doing it. They just kind of give up and sulk and get depressed, right? But if you go into it with, no, this can happen one day, but maybe right now is not the time, or maybe I just need to release attachment and just, you know, vibe for the meantime. So that's what I did. I started working on myself, focusing on myself, and that was loving myself. I wasn't neglecting myself. Every single day I poured into me. And it's so funny because I posted a photo of the fruit bowl I made myself because I was taking care of myself. When I made that fruit bowl, it was out of me caring for myself, right? I was eating perfect at this time. I posted a picture of this fruit bowl, and that's exactly when I got the opportunity to leave, because I was in that frequency of loving myself, and that's when I got the opportunity. So that's the number one thing you have to remember, is loving yourself, treating yourself with respect, including what you eat, including who you are, including what you do, including your thoughts. They all have to be coming from a place of love and light. A lot of people, when they're manifesting or when they're talking about the law of attraction, they say you have to act like you already have it. You have to vibrate like you already have it. You have to tell yourself you already have it. And that was really a hard thing for me to get around, because I was like, I don't have it though. How can I pretend like I do? But it's the faith. It's following in faith. You know, when people say like, follow in faith of God, follow in faith of yourself. So for me, what I did is, astrology is what helped my faith, actually, because since I can predict things in the future and I've been doing it for so many years, I have the utmost confidence within myself, because I know when I see a transit, I know what's going to happen. I know exactly what's going to transpire. I have so much confidence in myself that what I want is actually energetically already coming for me in the future. Because since we're made of energy, right, we're also planetary energy. If we are all the universe, why wouldn't the planets also affect us? You know, like the moon rules the tides. We are made of water. Why would the moon not rule us? And I think it's very interesting the amount of people that love to clown on astrology without even knowing how to read a birth chart. It's very odd to me how quick people are to shoot an opinion about something without discovering it for themselves. They're so quick to shove something down out of fear of the unknown, out of fear of, oh, what if this did work? My reality would break. That would give me anxiety. That's uncomfortable. But that's also what's holding you back. So a huge thing about manifestation is being okay with being uncomfortable and being okay with anxiety. Anxiety is something to embrace. It's not something to medicate or run away from. I live my life in anxiety every day, but guess what? I'm so free and I'm happy because I don't identify with the anxiety. I'm not viewing anxiety as a bad thing. I'm viewing it as an exciting thing, and I know that I'm accomplishing stuff. And if it's me, I would rather live in so much anxiety than depression. I choose anxiety over depression every day. I choose chasing my dreams over rotting in my bed any day. I cannot live that way. That was my life, my entire life. You got me literally so messed up if you think that I'm going to live my life in fear. I just did that for way too long. I had to accept the fact that I was going to die one day. I had to accept the fact that maybe life won't be perfect. Maybe I won't have it all, but I choose peace and freedom of mind over all. Now, I'm not saying praying doesn't work, because if you're praying in a frequency of love, that can also work, right? Because words are spells. That's why it's called spelling. Spells, casting spells. Praying works, but only if it's in a state of love. Now, that can also be used in terms of affirmations. We can say that affirmations also work as well because it's just contributing to the beliefs you have inside your mind. Another thing I like to do to add to my belief that I'm okay and everything's right, which again, you don't need external validation, but we all do love it. I want it sometimes, although I don't need it. I will go on TikTok and just watch tarot card readings. Now, I know that they might not be for me, right? I know that they could just be literal random messages, but it doesn't really matter if it's fake or real as long as I believe it. Because if I have that self-prophesizing belief inside that I can do whatever I want, and if it's saying I can, shit, who cares? Who literally cares? Who cares if they're right or not? Because I think it's right. And it works. Like, it adds to the stability of the tables of the beliefs in my mind, right? It adds to those legs of the evidence. And so it doesn't really matter what you say as long as you believe it, right? It's also kind of why everyone got it right. Everyone kind of got it right in terms of what to believe and what religion you have. It doesn't really matter what you believe because at the end of the day, it all comes from silencing the mind, right? So in Christianity, it's the sin, right? That's the fear of the ego. In Buddhism, you're meditating to try to quiet the mind so that your ego is not infiltrating the fear, is not infiltrating your thoughts and desires and all of this stuff, right? In terms of spirituality, in terms of law of attraction, all of this stuff is the same. It's all literally about silencing the fear, silencing the ego, releasing all attachment, and just realizing we are all one. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the magician on the call? Literally. Remember that no one's right, no one's wrong. There is no right or wrong. Religion was a man-made concept. We are just pure frequency. My philosophy and my crash course is like, it's just fear and love, right? Do things not because you're scared of them. Do it because you want to. Live in freedom. Live in just doing whatever you want, no matter how much anxiety it gives you, no matter what you have to lose, because that is what's going to literally give you the best life. The evolution has been beautiful, you know, leading up to this point in time. But in actuality, it's caused us a lot of suffering and a lot of separation because the division of everyone in terms of everyone thinks they're right. You know, everyone's like in fear of each other because they believe different things. And so that's what's separating us from connecting. The true purpose of a human being living on earth is soul growth, right? Learning things, evolving. And we're all just stuck in our ways, stuck in boxes, stuck in relationships, stuck in things that are isolating us, right? And we're just mad at each other for all this stuff. And it's like, once we can finally understand that we are all one, none of us mean harm towards each other. We all just had trauma that made us act, you know, in terrible ways. We started acting up. No one's bad. We were all born inherently good. I'm so excited for the future and I hope your day is so magical. So with all that being said, the mind's chat you have to combat. Start peeling the layers created under attack.